My name is Roland Walters. I do energy healing work, spiritual counseling. My business name is In the Healing Light. When I was about 4 years old, almost 5 years old, I had a fall and fell about 9 feet onto concrete head first. Grew up on a farm, still live on a farm. It was a dairy farm, and that particular area is what we called a silo, in-ground silo. So it's got three walls and a concrete floor. And I was up on one of the walls at that time, 4 or 5 years old. Probably shouldn't have been up there. But like I said, about 8 or 9 foot drop to the concrete floor. Anyway, short of the story is I fell head first. My older brother was actually down in that silo loading up a trailer with corn silage, which is a chopped forage. And he said I dropped like a missile head first right into it. I actually remember when I was falling, seeing the wall go by. I don't remember hitting. I remember going in and out as that being that kid, being that young. And it's like one moment, I just hit the floor, hit that concrete, and the next moment I opened my eyes and my brother's standing there. But I can hear my mom across the way screaming at him, "Don't touch him, don't touch him." And then it's like I'm out again. And then when I kind of wake up again, mom and my brother are both right there at me. But it was different. Everything kind of felt different. But anyway, this whole scene is what I remember clearly, all my life. And I remember part of the car ride. I remember getting to the doctor's office, and essentially I was okay. I didn't break. I got a knot on my head, but didn't break any bones. Didn't do anything. It didn't even break the skin on the top of my head. This was the memory I had for all of my life. And I am 54 now, so 50 years ago, I've had this memory all of my life and knew it happened. And everybody always figured I was just extremely lucky falling like that, nothing broken, nothing damaged, so to speak. Pretty much by that evening, walked away. So, but a handful of years ago, somewhere between 3 and 5 years ago, I guess probably more like 4 or 5 years ago, a friend of mine that does hypnotherapy did a hypnotherapy session, and I actually went in there to address something else. And what I went in there for didn't get addressed at all. Instead, all these memories started coming back about that fall and everything that happened afterwards, which essentially was the NDE. That through my life up to this, even long before this point, as a kid and teenager, and I've always felt energies, always knew there was more out there than what people would talk about. And it seemed like every time I would try to talk about certain things, talk about stuff I felt or noticed around people, I'd get comments like, you're just making that up, or, quit pretending, or just different things. Or from other kids, I would get stuff like, you're weird, or don't, or sometimes just maybe not even hang around me. Can't say that I was like any black sheep of the family or anything like that. I was a pretty normal kid. It's just I noticed some stuff and I wanted to talk about it, but it was just nobody around that I could relate to. So it got to the point where I just didn't talk about it. But this hypnotherapy session opened up a lot to that and helped me understand, because these energy feelings I've had for all these years actually eventually took me to doing energy work and connecting with people and things like that. And I've been doing energy work and working with people in multiple countries now remotely for probably 10 years, a little better. And this hypnotherapy session really brought back a lot that I'd forgotten and helped me to realize how this all got started, so to speak, or how the reason I had this constant feeling of something else was out there, something else was going on, and the pull to understand that and learn a little more, and just kind of the excitement from it. So anyway, in this hypnotherapy session, um, all these memories started coming back, and it started back with that fall. I mean, literally, I could see the fall. I could see the family members. I could see the farm and all the cows and everything else from this dairy farm. It was clear, like it was that day. And I mean, I remember the fall. I see the wall going by just as I've always had in my memory. And um, where it really got interesting was, of course, one side of me is my brother, the other side is my mother, but I was not like laying on the ground looking at them. I'm actually looking at them from above. And at that is from that above is it was a I noticed everything around me. It was like a light that was yellow, and everything was very warm. And mind you, it was still summertime, but everything was still very warm. It felt very warm, very comforting. But I was being pulled up and at an angle away from, like, if the wall's over here and I'm laying here on the ground on the concrete, it's like I got pulled up and pulled away. So as I'm seeing them, I'm being pulled away and I'm looking back at them. It's like they're talking and mom's saying something. I guess she's hollering back to my dad or something. I don't know. It's like I'm kind of going in and out. But I remember seeing that scene. And then it's like I didn't see the scene anymore. And it's just everything's yellow. It's not like a bright yellow. It's like a pale yellow and white mix, but it's just bright. It's very bright, and it's just constantly pulling me up, and I'm steadily, going up into this light. Then all of a sudden I can see myself like looking down into my parents' old car. And this was an old car from, the 60s, that final bench seat in it. And it's like at a time when nobody wore seat belts. And I could see me looking down into the car, and I see myself laying on the seat in between my parents. Like my feet are at my dad or in my dad's lap, and my head's in my mom's lap. And I remember seeing that too. But once again, it's not like I'm there looking up at them. I'm looking down on it. So, but as I'm looking at that scene is when I noticed that somebody had my left hand and was pulling at my left hand. And literally it's a situation where I turned around and there's some guy, kind of darker skin, dark hair, and he's pulling at me. And it's like I'm being pulled from the yellow light, and it's almost like it's not really being pulled from the light. It's like the light's fading away, and I'm into a different scene, and of course, I start pulling back. In this NDE, in this vision, this memory that comes up is I am pulling back. It's you can imagine a kid and I was 4 years old, getting ready to turn 5 when I did this. Getting kind of freaked out, not knowing what's going on, moving away from my parents. I don't quite understand what's going on, but there's this guy that's pulling me. I don't see his face. He's like he's already grabbed hold of my hand and he's turning, he's walking the other way. And I'm going right along, even though I'm trying to pull back. Very mixed feelings, a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety kind of feelings, a lot of fear, I guess you say. But in that hand, in that left hand, it's like calmness. So a lot of mixed feelings, partially feeling calm, feeling fear, calm fear. And I'm looking back towards my parents. I'm looking at this person. I'm looking back at my parents, and we keep getting further and further away from my parents. It finally gets to a point where I can't see back at that car my parents anymore. I see this guy, and he's not letting go. He's pulling right along, but it's not like a pull that like somebody's kidnapped you and taken off. It's just this steadily And it's actually somewhat comforting. It's just like this, you're safe, but I just didn't want to go that way. Never felt in danger, just didn't want to go that way. It's got somebody pulling me. In my mind, my mind's racing, and it's these thoughts of he won't let go. He won't let go. Why won't he let go? Just anything you may be thinking of as a kid, that when somebody's pulling on you, it's like, why won't you let go? Who is this? What are we doing? And this guy stops, turns and looks at me. Don't recognize him. Don't think I'd ever seen him before. And he just looks right at me, looks right in my eyes, kind of gets somewhat down on my level and says, "You're not done." And I have no clue what this means. And um, basically, he turns around and we start going again. And when I look around, everything is like this vastness. It's kind of like space without the stars. It's like nothing's there. We're walking, but it doesn't look like we're walking on anything. It's no real shapes, there's no real colors, it's just there. It's not like a white, it's not black, it's just I don't know, it's just there. Can you explain it? Can you describe it? I have no clue where we're going. I don't know what we're doing. But we just keep moving along. He's walking along, pulling me right along. And all of a sudden there's these people showing up, but they don't look right. They've got dark colors about them. I mean, they look like people, but they don't seem quite right. They're not, don't look like you and I, and dark colors about them. Dark blues, dark greens, dark oranges mixed within them, or all one color. And they keep coming, and they don't look, they're not being aggressive, but they don't look happy. They don't feel calm. And I'm just getting more nervous, more afraid, and also at the same time seeing a certain level of calmness. And these people just keep getting more and more. In other words, let's say it started out 10 come up, and then it looks like it's 20, and then it's 30, and it's 40, and it's 50, and it just keeps getting more and more and more and more. And it's like this guy's not phased. He's just walking right along, and it's like we're going right through the middle of them. As they come up, they don't really stop us, but it's like they allow us to walk through, but they just keep getting more and more and more. And it's like it's too many. It's, for a kid, this is too many. I don't know where I'm going. Everything's crazy. I don't even know what to think. As we're moving along, they're like leaning in, they're looking at us, they are getting closer, and they keep kind of like staring and looking at us. And I'm still looking around, trying to figure out where we're going, how do I get away from here? I don't know. I just can't really explain it. It's just that it's an uncomfortable kind of fear, but yet a calmness at the same time. And that was coming from him, that just so mixed. It was just very confusing. And that's exactly how I was feeling as it was coming up. Then we came to a point where he stopped again. We hadn't gone far. He stops and somewhat kneels down, and he's pointing down. And he's like, and I'm looking at him because I really don't want to look anywhere else. And it's like he's beckoning me to look at them. I mean, he's pointing at them. He's looking at me. He's walking, like, look at them. And he says to me, "They're waiting for you." And that didn't help my calmness. I mean, it helped my nervousness at all. I mean, that's just ramped it up. Why these people like individuals that are dark colors, nothing bright about them, all dark colors. They seem sad or not happy. And he tells me they're waiting for you. I actually end up starting to pull back. I'm trying to go back the other way more. And he's just holding on. And it's not hurting me or anything. He's just holding on. And ends up saying something on the lines of turning from souls to people. And I'm just kind of perplexed, like, what is he saying? This doesn't make sense. And the whole time, the crowd's getting bigger. It's getting more around and more and more and more. And like, I don't even want him to us to just stand here. I want us to keep moving or something, even though I don't know where we're going. But this was, really getting me uneasy. And he's he's like calm. He's fine. He's not least bit worried. I mean, they're not doing anything to us, and we're not doing anything to them. It's just we're just there. And he's calling them souls, and I had no clue. You're 4 years old, 5 years old. I had no clue what a soul was. I don't even know if I even heard the term. But it's not something that came up in regular conversation as a kid. But then he mentioned or says to me, Earth souls to help lost Earth souls. Still don't understand, still don't know what's going on. He starts walking again. And apparently, I feel like this guy knew what I was thinking, because I'm not saying anything. At least I don't think I was saying anything. If I was, I just don't realize it. I was mostly thinking it was just my thoughts. And he stops again. And at that time when he was stopping, I was going, why me? Why are you telling me this? What's the point of this? Why are you pulling on me? Why are you telling me that I'm not done and that they're waiting for me? And it's just none of this was making sense to me. And when he stopped, that's what was running through my head. And what I was thinking, he stops and looks directly at me again and says, I chose you. And I'm like, for what? What is, and it's just like overwhelming. Everything was it was just too much. These individuals, these souls, whatever, were close and leaning in, and they didn't feel good. They didn't feel bad. They weren't like mean or anything. It's just didn't. They weren't happy. It wasn't calm like him. It wasn't at peace like him. Um, it was just it's just a wave of energy that was kind of unsettling. But he's telling me I chose you, and at this point, they're like coming around further around us more and more, and the crowd's getting deeper. So it's like I will look back to one side or the other, seem like they're just getting further, deeper back, and further and further. I mean, these numbers are going from 10 to 20 to 50 to 100. It seemed like so quickly. But then again, I don't even know what time frame was there, but it just seemed like everything was just happening so quickly. My mind is spinning. I don't know what's what. But he's still sitting there in front of me. And then he says to me, you were there in the beginning. In between being said he chose me and then there in the beginning, I felt like a lot of that nervousness that I was getting that had ramped up was starting to settle back down. I was starting to be more at ease. These things, these souls, these people are all still too close. And they're like leaning in and looking at us. And my thoughts are everything from what do they want? What does he want with me? What is all this? What is it? And we started walking again. We just got to the point where all these were in front of us and they were going out deep, and now we were starting to pass by them. We passed by them. I felt like something was different. But I'd been trying to focus on him just because I didn't want to look at them. But I remember I ended up looking back. When I looked back, those that we had passed were changing. Instead of being the dark blues, dark greens, dark reds, really, really dark colors, heavy colors, they were like mixtures of white, grayish white, light white, nothing like bright blooming whites, but just different shades of white. They quit looking at us. They quit looking at me and him. It's like they started interacting with each other. it's literally like they went from staring at us leaning in to just like looking at each other. And I couldn't tell you if they were talking or anything else. It was just the change. It was just, it was the energy change. It was the color changes. It was intriguing to say the least. It got to the point where I found myself just watching that. And it's like as soon as they pass us, they were changing. It wasn't just like a quick snap of a finger change, but if you can imagine somebody that as we get to them, they're dark blue or dark blue gray or something, and as they pass us, they get a little lighter, a little lighter, a little lighter until once they're past us, and who knows, many feet, 20, 30 feet, who knows, whatever behind us, they're this off-white. It was very intriguing, very, very interesting to watch. And it just kept all of them, they just kept as they passed. And looking back at him, he's not doing anything but walking. I'm not doing anything. I don't see anybody else around. And I just got to the point where I'm just watching this. It actually took my mind off of everything else is the change. And we're just going along and didn't seem like things changed. I didn't know. It's like a crowd of individuals got, or souls got further away from us. They were like right close. Like we were having to go through this little tunnel between them walking. They were so close till it was like they were further out. And so when I looked up back towards him, I realized there's other people walking with us now, wearing white robes. Now, this guy that was pulling me wasn't wearing a white robe or anything. He's just wearing plain, loose, somewhat baggy, I don't know, tannish type clothes. Maybe tan, maybe gray, but just loose, plain clothes. But these other individuals were wearing robes, white, long robes. As I'm trying to look around him and look up at them, the reason why the crowd's getting further away from us is because they've got like a V formation up ahead of him. There's like a wedge cutting through the crowd. No clue where these people came from. I didn't see them before, but it was just like you turn around one way and they're not there, turn back and there they are. And it didn't slow or change or speed up the speed of the walk, but we were just now walking and they're keeping everything spread open, spread apart. So then we're just walking in this group, and they're not making any noises. Nothing's happening. He's not changing anything, and I'm just looking back and forth and just there, this vastness. No clue where we're going. No clue what's happening. And then one of the times I'm looking back, and then I look forward again. We're not moving. I didn't feel the change. I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel anybody stop me. I didn't feel anybody. And the guy wasn't there. The guy that was pulling my hand wasn't there. I didn't even feel him let go. It's just, we went from this vastness and these people in the V formation and him pulling me and all these souls to, I'm literally standing still. And it's a nature scene. An open area, not real huge. Let's say like a good sized yard with trees completely surrounding it, somewhat grassy areas more so on the outside. And those people that were in the V are now in a circle. And it's like I'm outside the circle. So I'm like looking at some of their backs. If you can envision all of them in a circle facing each other in this circle that's probably 25 to 30 feet in diameter. And it feels like it's a late afternoon scene. A late afternoon, maybe early evening. It's you can tell it's later, a little later in the day. It's warm out, everything's calm, just a very natural earth type looking scene. And See in front of these people in the circle, there's a ring of stones, and the stones look like they're about baseball in size, and that's the ring. It's 25 to 30 feet in diameter, and being 11 of them, they're spaced out pretty evenly, or they are evenly spaced out around, so I could see in between them, and in between them, the ground is more clear, it's more open, it's not so grassy, and I can see a smaller ring of stones, maybe 3 feet in diameter. As a kid, I don't know if I would have figured out any kind of dimensions, but as I'm remembering it through this hypnotherapy session, that's about the size of it. And when I look around, it's just trees and grass, and I don't know, it just looks like just a scene somewhere, like a park or something. But it seemed like every time I would look back at something and look forward, the scene would change. And this was another one of those examples. I'm looking around, looking at stuff, and just the next time I look forward, I'm standing in the center circle, and all of those 11 people are looking at me. And as I'm looking around at them, it's men and women both, but they're all looking at me. And there's one particular guy that I'm facing. Where I was placed, I guess you could call it. I was facing this one particular guy, and once again, I'm standing in this circle, this smaller circle, and this guy's looking at me intently. And it's not the same guy. None of them were the guy that was pulling me. I'm looking at him, he's looking at me, and he starts moving forward. He starts coming like, straight towards me, walking straight towards me. And I see he's wearing a medallion on his chest. And it's literally covered. It's also baseball, somewhere baseball to softball size. It's big, and it's covering the space that's between the heart chakra and the solar plexus. Maybe covering a little bit of both, with tied from something around the neck. And it's 2 rings. It's it looks like hammered metal. As he gets closer, it looks like somebody took metal and hammered it out. And there's a big ring, and then there's a small ring. It's just kind of like the 2 rings, but it's yay big. But anyway, it's and when I look around, every one of them is wearing this. Not sure if I ever understood or do understand the meaning of that, but it was so clear, and it was so, as he came closer, me being little, it's like I was looking right at it. It's just right at it, facing into his chest there. Anyway, keeps coming closer and keeps coming closer, and as he's getting closer, I can feel my arms are tingling, my hands are tingling. I remember kind of going like, what is this? And I don't feel any nervousness. I actually feel very calm, as calm as is what I felt when that guy was pulling my hand. And this guy comes right over, and I guess he's more like the leader of the group or something, but he comes right over up to me, and he's asking me to do what he does. He's like, follow my arm movement, follow my hand movements. And I don't even remember exactly what it was, but he was doing something. And I guess maybe he realized this was too much for me or something, because I'm not getting it. I'm not, I'm looking at everything, and there's just too much information. There's too many questions going through my head. And I don't think I was even doing it. I just feel like I was just standing there with tingling hands and tingling arms, and looking at this guy and looking at this medallion, and basically I'm wondering what the heck is going on. What am I doing? What's happening? And then he says, okay, just do this. And he puts his hands out to the side, not straight out, but down at an angle. It's just hold them out like this. And the vibration that, the tingling in the hands got worse. It got up through the body, and you could just feel all this energy. And as this is happening, I'm not doing anything, I'm just holding my hands out, but as I'm there, he starts getting brighter. He's literally getting brighter, like brighter light, brighter, brighter. And look at his hands and I look up at his face, and it's getting to the point where it's getting so bright you really can't see his face. And I can feel all the energy. And then I notice the others are humming. Uh, What I what I don't know is, had they always been humming? And it's like a one note. It's not necessarily om, but it was just one note. So it wasn't a tune. And it was just that same note, and they are all doing it together. And I like glancing around at them. He's getting brighter. They're not. They're staying the same. I can still see each one of them as far as their faces and stuff. And he starts backing away, literally just backing straight up, still holding his arms out. And of course, I'm still looking around like I've been doing this whole trip, this whole journey, and just trying to take everything in, just looking and looking. And their humming's getting louder. He's joined the humming, and the tingling and the vibration got more and more. And then all of a sudden, there was this jolt. It was this jolt of light that came straight down. And if anybody's ever been shocked, electrical shock, it's instant. It's so quick, and it just jolts your whole body. It was like that, but it didn't hurt. It disoriented me. It's like the whole body was vibrating. Everything was vibrating. I don't think I was even focused on anything. I knew I was very disoriented. And when I started kind of coming back to get back to my senses, maybe is a way of saying it, these loving people were already walking away. Like they've already passed by me. The ones that were behind me have already passed by me, and they're just slowly walking away. So I was kind of out of it, so to speak, for several moments. They're humming as they're going away, and I'm still there, but I'm still very much out of it. They're vibrating. I mean, really don't know what's like the rest of the trip. I have no clue what's going on. It's just one thing after another, but I felt good. I felt very calm, obviously feeling energized, but felt good. But I'm just standing there. I'm not going anywhere. I don't even, just don't even know what to think. And back to that same scenario is when I look around and see stuff and looking at stuff, is when the scene changed again. But this time I left the nature scene and I was back to that vastness. I was back to just this openness. But that original guy was there. He was actually just standing there holding my left hand. We weren't walking at the time. We were just standing there. And so it took a moment for me to kind of focus and figure out where we're at. But the vastness, all those souls, all those people weren't there. It was just him and me. And he says to me, it's time to go back. Then he's pointing in the direction where I could see my parents in that car and see me in the car. Like we're going down the road, I could see me in that car laying on that seat. And he says, you can do this. You can do it. And I have it's like, what is it? I know he's talked about turning souls to people and turning from souls to people rather into, stuff like earth souls to help lost earth souls. But I didn't know, just confusion, didn't know what was going on. And, this guy, I wasn't least bit afraid anymore. He's completely calm. He's looking at me very intently, very calmly. And then the next thing I know, I'm back in the car. It's like we're just getting to the doctor's office. And this was a situation where we didn't, at that time in the early 70s, we didn't go to emergency room. That's when we could actually call the local town doctor, I guess you'd say, and just kind of go into the back entrance into the back room to an examination room. And that's where we went. And mind you, from where that may have been a 5 mile drive. So it wasn't very far, but I was out a lot of that drive. I remember my mom picking me up, taking me in into the that back door of that office, doctor's office, and they sit me on the table and get me all checked out and stuff. And I remember and that's like the part I remember from then on. But one of the things I wanted to share is maybe 6 months, maybe a year after the hypnotherapy session and all this come to me, I saw a painting by, I guess I don't know how old she is now. She might be 20 now. I don't know, but I'm sure a lot of people have heard of her. Akayan Kramaric. She became popular when she was 7 years old. Painted a huge, like size of a wall, 8 foot or something, painting of Yeshua. When I saw that, that was the guy who had my hand. Every other picture that I'd seen, either through churches or what have you, or people's homes that were the long hair Jesus and the light skin, that's what I was used to seeing, and that was not the guy who had my hand. Guy she painted, when I saw that, it was just, that's him. I mean, it was just immediate that's the guy. That's what he looked like. I mean, was it actually him? Let's say it was, but I can tell you it wasn't him. It sure looked like him. But when I just saw that painting, that just filled in a blank for me because with the NDE coming back, I didn't know who that was. Really didn't have a clue. Didn't just kind of let it go by as just a guy, some guy that was showing me this stuff and leading me along. Well, this whole thing with the NDE kind of basically explained a lot of stuff for me and my feelings and my thoughts and like through my life, feeling energy, getting around people, feeling energies, all the way up to the work I'm doing now. It's like everything just kind of fell into place with where I end up being, what I end up doing. I'll share with you that I always had this feeling of wanting to like do healing. I remember my mother walking around, and before she got her knees operated on, she had really bad arthritis in her knees. And as a teenager, the more time I was around her, the more my knees hurt. And I used to think that it was just, my mind playing games on me. And then it got to the point when I was in my, I don't know, maybe early 20s that I was starting to think I was going to have bad knees. But then I realized that after not being around her, like if I was gone for a while or back in college or something, my knees didn't hurt. It was only when I got around her and I started realizing I was feeling other people's stuff. It took me many years to figure that out, many years. But it's just see somebody hurting or something, and you wanted to fix it. In 2008, my daughter was born. And she was born with Downs, and she had 2 small holes in her heart. And this little girl put me on the next part of my journey of this energy work and kind of filling in this or taking this information from the NDE. But she needed to have heart surgery, and they wanted her to grow up some, wanted her heart to get a little stronger. She's just this little bitty thing, somewhere around 4 or 5 months of age. Her heart situation started getting worse. She got a congestive heart failure developed, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. It became a scenario that surgery had to be done sooner than later. And we were actually in the hospital with her, and um, she ended up having a heart attack, and she did make it, but we lost her many times, and it took the medical team, I think, close to 40 or 45 minutes to truly revive her. So unfortunately, during that time frame, she suffered brain damage, ended up with spastic cerebral palsy, and she was with us for 10 years. But an amazing little girl, an amazing energy, and it's amazing. Actually, it's incredible how much stuff energy wise would come to her. But when she was in the hospital, that 4.5, 5 months of age, I remember her laying in the PICU unit, and all the things she's got on is a diaper, and they've got heaters, heat lamps, heaters, whatever, something above her to keep her warm. And this is a little girl already. We were having trouble keeping her warm, and I remember coming into her room and seeing her, and just like a parent would do, is wanting to go up and touch her and see if she was warm enough, or even too warm. Just see if she was warm enough or she was too warm. And she was very, very comfortable warm. But what was interesting is when I put my hand over her chest, there was a bowl of energy, like if you just taken a little bowl over her little chest over her and just put it over her. I could feel that bowl of energy. I could roll my hand around it, just like if you put a bowl over it, and I'm just rolling my hand around it. And I take my hand away and look back and touch it again. And then I pushed it because it was so obvious it was there. I pushed it. When I pushed it, she's laying there, her arms all spread out, legs spread out. When I pushed it, she jumps. And mind you, she's unconscious and been unconscious for days. Pull my hand back, feel it again, push it again, she jumps. It's a situation of like, I don't know really what this is, but there's something here. There's something going on here. And I just remember always my thoughts about energy and spiritual stuff. And I remember leaving the hospital that night going, okay, it's time to do something with this. It's time to make something of it. And from there, it's just all the doors started opening up. It started, I started meeting the right people that I felt like I could never contact, and led me to Reiki, led me to shamanism, then like into master shamanism. And it's like one thing led to another. And I will tell you, in this work, as I was doing this work, and through meditation, we get information and get messages through meditation. And one of the messages I've got was sent to me several times. Hopefully you can see this without a reflection. But it says, I am in the triangle. What that basically, in the meditation that came to me first time about 9 years ago, but it was, I don't even think it had that I am written inside of it. But then 6 years ago, 7 years ago, it came to me like that, looking just like that. And it came to me nice and slow from this angle and kind of stopped. And then it moved back. And for whatever reason, I didn't write it down and didn't make notes of it. Then the next time it came faster. And then the third time it came really fast. And this is over a period of many weeks. And I guess it's because I wasn't writing it down, or maybe not getting the clue or something. But the last time it came so fast, it was almost like it was going to knock me over. After the third one is when I got up and, started drawing it out. And then it was still probably 6 months before I decided I could accept it, because it's, saying I am in a, Baptist community area is, not completely accepted, but at least that's what I thought it would be, completely accepted. But eventually I took it on because I was just getting information that I was supposed to use this, didn't know what to do with it, how to do with it, but it has become a major part of my work, and it's just accepting that we are all equal. It's changed my work in the sense of, looking at it from that, we're all equal, we're all souls, and nobody's better than anybody else. And we all struggle to see this light that's within us, and this light that is us. And it is, I am, you are, we all are, I am, we all are part of the divine. We all are part of that oneness, that vastness, that universe. And we have to get rid of our baggage, our burdens, our baggage, our negativity, in order to see the light that's within us, but also to see the light that's in others. And so in my work, I want those people that come to me be free of that emotional burdens, to help them work on that and release that, such they can see that light that is them. And in doing so, we're raising the vibration, raising the vibration of all the people, of everything, the earth, the planet, everything. We need to work from, we need to focus on our vibration. The lower vibrations being fear, the higher vibration being love. And going back to that NDE, that's what kind of seemed like was being shown to me at that time, is as these people were coming by, these souls, they were darker colors, and that's generally a lower vibration. Not bad, nothing, not evil or anything, just lower vibration. But as they passed us, I was getting that the message later now, the message was raise their vibration and remove some of these burdens such that they become lighter. They become, and then with the interacting, they see each other, and then they know, and they can see the light that's within each other.